just fell to third in that yellow number 24. And Jeff Bloom, in fact, is in fourth place in that blue number 67 car.
Oh, problem right here. 3, 4, 5 cars involved.
Oh, my gosh. Guys are still getting into it.
Well, we can see Mahoney down on the inside. There is Randy Sweet in the black number 2, and there is the Leffler car number 9 of Gene Lee Gibson. Bill Rose in number 3, another black car and a red car, and obviously we cannot discern the numbers from right here, so we won't try to guesstimate who's involved if we can't make out the number.
That's Ricky Howerton is the other car up on the fence. We can't see him, but this is Jim Mahoney down here. It looks like, yeah, it looks like he might have got his bell rung. He might be in trouble there because he's not moving around too much. And Steve Stapp is sitting there
on the left rear tire.
Steve Stapp is sitting there trying to make sure he's okay. It looks like he's moving around. He's moving his left arm. I think he's okay, but he got hit real hard. That's Steve Stapp making sure. There's Sweet. There's Randy Sweet getting out of his car. That's Gene Lee Gibson in the 9 car. He's moving around. He's all right.
There we see the Bill Rose, the tail of Bill Rose's car, and he is out.
That's Bob Ciccone.
The other in the red 59. He is still in the cockpit, and you can just see the tail at the top of your screen of number 6. And you said that, yeah, that's Rick Howerton because he has the red, white, and blue driving suit. All the drivers are out, or at least moving around inside the cockpit, and still talking to Gene Lee Gibson there.
Yeah, it looks like all these guys up on the top of the racetrack, they're all moving around. They all seem to be getting out of their race cars, seem to be all right. I think Mahoney is all right. He was moving around also, but he wasn't getting out of the car quite as quickly as did the guys up here on top of the racetrack.
Larry Rice, we have made this point before. These guys are so fast on the high banks here at Winchester. If something happens in front, the guy really behind does not have time to make some evasive move.
The closing speed is so unbelievably fast that when something happens, you have no chance. They're waving the red flag now, Gary. They're going to stop everybody. It's awfully congested down there. The whole track is almost blocked. It was kind of dangerous for the safety people to try to work around there while those cars were running through there.
Well, as the red flag is being displayed, perhaps on a replay, we can discern what happened that got this thing triggered. Now, I think it's perhaps on pass to the lower right of your screen. There's Ciccone in the red number 9. There's contact right in front of Ciccone.
Well, it looked like there was contact up there. That looks like Jim Mahoney up against the fence up the top. That was Randy Sweet, and he got together. Everybody else just kind of were trying to miss the crash, running into each other. They didn't hit too hard. Mahoney's the one that backed into the fence up on the top. Here's Billy Rose. He hit the fence way back up there and didn't have any brakes. And then he came along and bammed into Gene Lee Gibson. But he hit the fence back up the track and lost his brakes. That's the reason he was still running in there at that point.
One of the drivers involved, Rick Howerton, is standing by with Dave Despain.
First man out and walking away is Rick Howerton. Rick, what happened up there?
Someone tried passing a bunch of guys, tried to get underneath the bottom of Bob Ciccone down the bottom and just pushed all the way up in the side of him, and then other people just got gathered up.
You had no place to go then? Where were you in the fray?
Right to the side of Bob.
So you basically just were stuck in the middle. Rick Howerton is okay. We'll have an update on everybody else. Preliminary indication is all the drivers are okay. We'll be back with more from Salem Speedway right after this timeout. We're trackside at Salem Speedway where a 5-car pileup has stopped the main event here. The update on Bill Rose, Rick Howerton, Bob Ciccone, and Gene Lee Gibson, A-OK. Meanwhile, Jim Mahoney has been taken to the infield, and they're going to check him out in the ambulance. The preliminary indication, no serious injury. Gene Lee Gibson been checked out, I guess, and pronounced OK. How you feeling?
Got a headache.
Took a lick there, didn't you?
But whoever hit me, he hit me good. I was up and the wreck in front of me, and I'd spun it and was sitting there, and I thought it was all over with, and then kaboom.
Yeah, true, huh?
Yeah, something. But, hell, one of them deals.
It's a bad way for a wrap-up a two-race to see you're okay.
Yeah, we'll come back next time.
Gene Lee Gibson says he's okay, and we'll have an update on Jim Mahoney as soon as it's available.
Well, obviously, we saw exactly what happened as far as Gene Lee getting tagged after he thought the race was over, and perhaps we can take a look. There's perhaps some damage there on the fence outside the entrance to turn 1. Mahoney took a couple of good shots as he wrapped the fence pretty hard. He got together with Randy Sweet. Once again, the white car on the outside right here, the black number 2 car, and they get together just to the right of your screen right here. And that will turn Mahoney around, and Mahoney will hit the wall right here going into turn 1.
Yeah, it was just some misjudgment there somehow. They got into together. Look at Mahoney when he hits that fence. Boy, he hit that fence hard, and that's the reason he got hurt. Everybody else back here, Gene Lee Gibson, he's sideways. Everybody's trying to miss it. But we see Bill Rose up here in the right-hand corner. He's hit the fence and knocked the brakes out of his car. Here we see the
top of the screen, right there. The white number 4, the black number 2 get together.
I think that what happened was Mahoney's tried to move up the racetrack a little bit, and he didn't see Sweet up there, and Sweet didn't give him enough room. And boy, when they touched at this speed, everything's going to happen all at once.
Now watch Mahoney hit the wall.
Here he comes up. Bang. Look at his head. Clear outside that cage.
That will stretch the neck out, and he'll be a sore pup tomorrow. He'll have one sore neck.
That's what hurt him. When he hit that wall that hard, you're really traveling fast. And look at this. Everybody's up on 2 wheels or banging around, and nobody got upside down. They were very, very fortunate that that didn't happen.
Well, we have 1 lap complete of a 30-lap feature. This is the Joe James Pat O'Connor Memorial. Pat O'Connor lived not too far from here in North Vernon, Indiana, and I don't think there was ever, Larry Rice, a more popular driver from the state of Indiana to strap on a race car than Pat O'Connor.
I never met Pat O'Connor, but I've met his son, and believe me, everyone I've talked to that knew him had nothing but high praise for Pat O'Connor. He's a good-looking young guy, had a great way with the people, and when he was gone in racing, it was a big loss for everybody, believe me.
Well, the cleanup continues down here in Turn 1 of the Joe James Pat O'Connor Memorial Race at the Salem Speedway in southern Indiana on Saturday Night Thunder. We come to you live. We'll clean up the debris, and we'll come back and resume racing. As the cleanup continues, they work on Bob Cicconi's car. We remind you to join us for Speed Week every Saturday at 7:30 Eastern Time here on ESPN. Bob Jenkins and the crew with all the motorsports news. And the crew continues to work on Bob Cicconi's number 59. He was involved up there, only tapped slightly, so that's his dad off the right rear. That is Lou Cicconi. His brother also working on the car. Danny Drynan is there, the car that he built. So perhaps we'll see the veteran from Prospect Park. But those involved in that crash at the end of lap 1, Rick Howerton, we've talked to Rick, Bob Cicconi there in the cockpit, Bill Rose, Gene Lee Gibson, Randy Sweet, and Jim Mahoney. And of course, we talked about how far out the neck was stretched. There's a look at Anna walking with her boyfriend, Gene Lee Gibson. Good-looking driving suit. The Allen Knott car out of competition this evening. Obviously, when it's a fast racetrack like this, they gather them up. There's no place to go.
It's a tough break for him. I don't think any of those cars are going to be able to restart, except maybe Bob Cicconi. And they're working real hard on that car. He was probably the least involved. Everybody else that got touched up there got touched pretty doggone hard, and I think they'll be out for the remainder of the evening.
Well, they're still working up there. There's one car still as we watch again. There's Danny Drynan, the Yellow Earls T-shirt. He's working on the car that he built for Bob Cicconi. And we look up in the turn, though, and there's still one car up there that's being worked on.
They moved the engine back in this car, and Bob says he likes it a lot better. The suspension on that car is kind of different, and so they had to change some things. It's pretty new. Here we see Rick Howerton's car. The front end's all bent up on it. You can see that it's probably not going to be able to be fixed, and they're going to haul it into the pits now. They just don't have enough wreckers to get them all off of there that quickly. When you've got 5 or 6 cars all disabled on the racetrack, it takes a while to get everything gathered up and off the racetrack. That's all.
We talked about Speed Week. We certainly hope that you saw our interview with Tommy Kendall on Speed Week, as he has high hopes of leaving the Methodist Hospital this week, returning to his home in California. And obviously it's going to be a long convalescence, but we wish him well. He is watching this evening from Methodist Hospital in Indianapolis. In fact, he had the entire ESPN Motorsports schedule memorized when I visited with him, and he knew exactly what he'd be watching all weekend. Well, we look again at the Leffler built car. Bob Cicconi is out of his car. No, he's still in the car, but he'll have a chance to talk to Dave Despain with his helmet on.
And let's see what Bob has to say about getting back on the horse that threw him here. First of all, you were pretty lucky out there.
Well, can you hear me okay, Dave?
I think so, Bob. Fire away.
I saw that the situation occurring, and that's why I was about a car length or two. I suspected something like that was going to unfold, and I was right. Mahoney got in a little too hot, and I think he didn't have enough control. Got up into Randy Sweet, and even though I saw it happening and I anticipated it, they shut the whole track off for me, so I had to throw it sideways and try to lock it up. And another car, about a half hour later, got me in the left rear there. So everything seems to be intact in the race car, so we're going to give it another try. This time we have to start all the way in the back, though.
You're not concerned about going back out there in a car that took a lick like that. You're confident.
That's not a lick. That's just like a love tap. You know what I mean? So everything that has to be correct is okay. They check the suspension components, and they're all okay, and we should be in good shape.
Okay, man, go get him. That's Bob Ciccone. He says, hey, I got no problem with this car. Let me at him. Only problem I got is I got to start in the back.
It's like kissing your sister. It's not that serious, right?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, he made a very good point right there. He said, even though I saw it happening, I anticipated it, I knew exactly what was going on, I got out of the throttle, and I still closed on the accident so quickly that I got in the middle of it, and then people ran into me. That's exactly the way things happen here. You can see them happening, but at 130 or 40 miles an hour that you're running at the end of that straightaway, you cannot stop the car or turn the car or get out of the way quick enough to mix an accident like that. That's the reason everybody gets involved.
There's a look from Robbie Stanley's car. We talk about how articulate Bob Ciccone is. So many folks have talked to us about the interview he did with Dave after that big crash at Winchester. He could still laugh. He could still smile. And let's go back to Dave Despain with an update on Jim Mahoney.
Ciccone, by the way, is one of my heroes for that particular interview. Jim Mahoney is out of the ambulance. They've checked him over, and it appears that the worst he has suffered is a bruised rib. He's pretty sore. We may get a chance to get a word with him, but the good news is that Jim Mahoney is indeed okay. So 5 guys got involved up there, and the cleanup continues. They tore up an awful lot of race cars, but the drivers are okay. We'll be back with more of the restart coming up here on